Welcome, brothers and sisters, to the Nation of Islam, Allah's Temple Number One, and the War of Christ. I am opening this meeting in the name of Allah, who appeared and is in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. And with the Farad prayer. Surely I have served myself, being upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the poly. Surely my prayers, my sacrifices, my life, and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he in this I commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals but thee. And with my meditation to Master Farad Muhammad. The Lord is my shepherd, I want not. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures, he leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul, he leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. This evening, we are continuing our reading of Message to the Black Man in America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the order will go as follows. Naeem will read Beware of False Prophets on page 252. I will read On Hypocrites on page 255. Kamal will read Beware of Kamal will read Beware of False Promises on page 258. Amaria will read The Teaching of the Holy Quran on Obedience on page 259. Sister Rebecca will read Victory of the Apostle on page 260. Daim will read On Universal Corruption on page 265. I will read The Breakup of the Old World on page 266. Kamal will read The Day of America's Downfall on page 269. Amaria will read America is Falling, Her Doom is Sealed on page 273. And Sister Rebecca will read The Decline of the Dollar on page 275. And we will start with Daim reading Beware of False Prophets on page 252.
This is Minister Daim of the Nation of Islam, Allah's Temple Number One. Beware of false prophets. A hypocrite is a person who is disliked by everyone, whether it be a hypocritical wife, husband, parent, son, or daughter. The hypocrite is unwanted. You can never trust hypocrites. They are liars. They are worse than disbelievers, because a disbeliever has not lied, saying that he believed and then turned back. This makes hypocrites the most hated of all people. The Holy Quran repeatedly warns the believers against hypocrites. Let us quote the 9th verse of chapter 2 of the Holy Quran, which reads like this. They seek to deceive Allah and those who believe, and they deceive only themselves, and they perceive not. When they come in, they hope to make Allah think that they are believers, and on their leaving sincerely seek to deceive the true believers, so that they may turn them against Allah, the Messenger, and the truth that He has brought. They are mockers of the believers and say that they believe, and yet they are mockers of true believers. The 15th verse of chapter 2 says of them, Allah will pay them back their mockery, and He leaves them alone in their inordinacy, blindly wandering on. The Holy Quran, chapter 63, verse 1 reads, When the hypocrites come to thee, they say, We bear witness that thou art indeed Allah's messenger, and Allah knows thou art indeed His messenger, and Allah bears witness that the hypocrites are surely liars. Chapter 63, verse 2. They take shelter under their oaths, thus turning men from Allah's way. Surely evil is that which they do. Chapter 63, verse 3. That is, because they believe, they then disbelieve. Thus their hearts are sealed, so they understand not. They desire to make the messenger think that they are true believers by saying that they believe that he is the messenger of Allah, while in their hearts they do not believe that he is the messenger, and Allah knows what is in their hearts, that they are liars. They come in believing and then disbelieving. After their disbelief, Allah seals their hearts so that they cannot understand or believe. In the 150th verse of chapter 4, they are warned against trying to deceive Allah and His Messenger. They say belief in God or His Apostle means a disbelief in both. This verse, chapter 4, verse 150, reads like this: Those who disbelieve in Allah and His messengers and desire to make a distinction between Allah and His messengers and say, we believe in some and disbelieve in others, and desire to take a course in between. Chapter 4, verse 151. These are truly disbelievers, and we have prepared for the disbelievers an abasing chastisement. Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 152 reads, And those who believe in Allah and His messengers and make no distinction between any of them, to them He will grant their rewards. And Allah is ever forgiving, merciful. This is going on today among my followers. Many of the hypocrites who go out from me will still say to you that they believe in Allah, but do not believe that I am the messenger of Allah. This is as if they said that they do not believe in either one of us. You cannot get to Allah unless you come through a messenger, apostle, or prophet of Allah. When a hypocrite begins disbelieving, the light is taken from him, and he is not able to see that he is actually a disbeliever. It is like someone wandering around in darkness but claiming that he sees his way, while the person in the light looking on the darkness knows that he is not able to see his way around. The Prophet is warned to strive hard against the hypocrites and disbelievers, and be unyielding to them, for their abode is the fire of hell. The relation between the hypocrites and the disbelievers is cut off. They are not allowed to go around the Muslims. Not even charity is accepted from hypocrites by the believers. They seek friendship with the enemies of Islam. Read chapter 5, verse 53 of the Holy Quran. And those who believe will say, Are these they who swore by Allah with their most forcible oaths that they were surely with you? Their deeds will bear no fruit, so they will be losers. Also chapter 4, verses 144 and 145. O you who believe, take not the disbelievers for friends rather than the believers. Do you desire to give Allah a manifest proof against yourselves? The hypocrites are surely in the lowest depths of the fire, and thou wilt find no helper for them. There is no help for the hypocrites. They practice deceit. Read chapter 47, verse 23. Those it is whom Allah has cursed, so He has made them deaf and blinded their eyes. And also verses 25 through 28. Surely those who turn back after guidance is manifest to them. The devil embellishes it for them, and lengthens false hopes for them. That is because they say to those who hate what Allah has revealed, we will obey you in some matters, and Allah knows their secrets. But how will it be when the angels cause them to die, smiting their faces and their backs? That is because they follow that which displeases Allah and are averse to His pleasure. So He makes their deeds fruitless. This particular group, hypocrites, should always be watched by the believers. They are very deceitful and must be opposed by all means. They are not to be killed, for Allah desires to make them examples examples for others by chastising them like a parent does a child. He chastises one with a strap to warn the other not to disobey. After a divine chastisement of the hypocrites, they are turned into the doom of the real enemies, the devils. That is why the Holy Quran speaks of them as inmates of the fire of hell. The messenger is warned not to be easy with hypocrites, but to be hard against them. Read chapter 66 verse 10, as well as chapter 66, verse 9. Starting at verse 9. O Prophet, strive against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and remain firm against them, and their abode is hell, and evil is the resort. Allah sets forth an example for those who disbelieve, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. They were both under two of our righteous servants, but they acted treacherously. They acted treacherously towards them. So they availed them not against Allah, and it was said, enter the fire with those who enter. Chapter 66, verse 9, which even warns the messenger that there were prophets who had hypocritical wives. This makes it clear to us that not only the common people can have a hypocrite in the family, but also the families of prophets. Because of this, some people will think you are weak. They will say, "Oh, if his wife does not believe in him, he must not be the messenger of God." If his sons and daughters do not believe in him, they say, they should know more about him than we do. He must not be the messenger. But this does not mean that the messenger is not the true one. Jesus prophesied that the truth will cause separation in the family. Mothers and fathers believing with children disbelieving, and children believing with mothers and fathers disbelieving. This is going on now. There are many who come to us saying that they believe and want to join with us, who believe in Allah and His truth and His messenger. But many times their parent and or children do not believe. This is the judgment day which you have been warned will come. The truth of Almighty God that I preach to you is not denied by scholars or scientists who understand. And if they do not understand, send them to me. And when they leave me, they will understand that it is the truth. Chapter 104 of the Holy Quran is entitled The Slanderer. Please read it and the footnote 2794. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Woe to every slanderer, defamer, who amasses wealth and counts it. He thinks that his wealth will make him abide. Nay, he will certainly be hurled into the crushing disaster. And what will make thee realize what the crushing disaster is? It is the fire kindled by Allah, which rises over the hearts. Surely it is closed in on them, in extended columns. This fits very well with the slander I am now receiving from the chief hypocrites. Amen.
This is Minister Rafiq of the Nation of Islam, Allah Simple number 1. On hypocrites. A hypocrite, regardless to where he appears or regardless to what organization he may be a member of, whether a governmental hypocrite, an industrial hypocrite, a business hypocrite, or a religious hypocrite, is the most unwanted and hated of all the people concerned. They are also the most hated by God. They are double-crossers. They come in claiming belief and then go out disbelieving. I quote several passages of the Holy Quran on hypocrites, which the average leader or searcher of the scripture has not known, because the scripture teaches here in America because the scripture teachers here in America have never studied the Holy Quran. If they had, they would not be hard to awaken or to be united with their own kind. Those who disbelieve, it being alike to them whether thou warn them or warn them not, they will not believe. Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 6. Allah has sealed their hearts and their hearing, and there is a covering on their eyes, and for them is a grievous chastisement. Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 7. This is not for people who have not known the truth of Allah and His true religion. It is for those who have known and then disbelieve after their believing. The 8th verse of the same chapter reads like this: And there are some people who say, we believe in Allah and the last day, and they are not believers. Verse 9. They seek to deceive Allah and those who believe, and they deceive only themselves, and they perceive not. Verse 10. In their hearts is a disease, so Allah increased their disease, and for them is a painful chastisement because they lie. Verse 11. And when it is said to them, make not mischief in the land, they say, we are but peacemakers. Verse 12. Now surely they are mischief makers, but they perceive not. Verse 14. And when they meet those who believe, they say, we believe. And when they are along with their devils, they say, surely we are with you, we were only mocking. Verse 15. Allah will pay them back their mockery, and He leaves them alone in their inordinacy, blindly wandering on. In section 16, entitled Hypocrites Are Dishonest, the Muslims are warned not to try to defend them or contend in behalf of those who act unfaithfully to their souls. Surely Allah loves not him who is treacherous, sinful. Chapter 4, verse 107. Behold, you are they who may contend on their behalf in this world's life, but who will contend with Allah on their behalf on the resurrection day? Or who will have charge of their affairs? Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 109. In section 17, entitled Secret Counsels of the Hypocrites, and were it not for Allah's grace upon thee and His mercy, a party of them had certainly designed to ruin thee, and they ruin only themselves, and they cannot harm thee in any way. And Allah has revealed it to thee, the book and the wisdom, and taught thee what thou knowest not, and Allah's grace on thee is very great. Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 113. There is no good in most of their secret counsels, except in him who enjoys charity and goodness and reconciliation between people. And whoever does this, seeking Allah's pleasure, we shall give him a mighty reward. Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 114. And whoever acts hostilely towards the messenger after guidance has become manifest to him and followers other than the way of the believers, we turn him to that which he himself turns and makes him enter hell, and it is an evil resort. Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 115. I have followers who are now fulfilling these verses of the Holy Quran. They are true, and they are very easy to understand. Allah warns them that He will not aid them against His messenger, but will let them be manifest and bring to a naught their evil plans to destroy the messenger and the truth which he preaches, and even to take his very life and those who are with him. And thus have we made in every town the reader of its the guilty ones, that they may make their plans therein, and they plan not but against themselves, and they perceive not. Holy Quran, chapter 6, verse 124. Allah allows the wicked and the leaders of opposition to the messenger to make their plans therein, and they plan not but against themselves, and they perceive not. Allah allows the wicked and the leaders of opposition to the messenger to make their plans and to try to carry them out against the messenger. And then Allah makes them to about face, and the planners of the evil receive the evil results that they wish for the messenger. Holy Quran, chapter 8, verse 46. Excuse me. O Prophet, strive hard against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and be firm against them. And their abode is hell, and evil is the destination. Holy Quran, chapter 9, verse 73. read chapter 9, verse 74, which reads, "They swear by Allah that they said nothing, and certainly they did speak the word of disbelief, and disbelieved after their Islam, and they proposed that which they could not attain, and they sought revenge only because Allah, as well as His Messenger, had enriched them out of His grace. So if they repent, it will be good for them. If they turn away, Allah will chastise them with a painful chastisement in this world and the hereafter, and they shall have in the earth neither a friend nor a helper." I do not beg anyone to believe, because it is not allowed by Allah for a messenger to beg people to believe in Allah and His word of truth, neither to take him for an angel or for a prophet. This is absolutely immaterial on a prophet's part. They seek to judge the messenger of God, and, as the Bible teaches, they seek to bring him into courts of the infidels to be judged by them, while the Bible and the Holy Quran warn you against trying to be the judge of a messenger of God in these words, "Who is he that judges another man's servant?" The Holy Quran repeatedly warns the disbelievers and hypocrites that Allah is sufficient as a judge of His messenger, and by no means will He let those who molest and seek to destroy His messenger with their tongues and their hands for no good reason. There is no excuse for their deviation, only that they were actually hypocrites, eating and feasting with us, as the Bible says, and we did not know that they were such people. Allah makes them known whenever He pleases. And I warn you who read this article that these are the days of judgment, and I am your little brother missioned by God to try to save you from going to the doom of the devils and disbelievers. Allah is a friend, and I am a friend that He has caused to rise among you, the poor black people of America, who have suffered every injustice that man could suffer and are still suffering today. The enemy cannot be but a hypocrite who will now try to offer you The enemy cannot be but a hypocrite who will now try to change to offer you friendship. The same enemy who fought and killed you yesterday cannot turn overnight and become your friend. Be warned and be careful of how you deviate and follow such evil-tongued people as you see now appearing. For in a few days God will destroy them all with those whom the destruction and justice is due. May Allah pour upon the hypocrites the chastisement that He poured upon my mother's son, my own brother, who rose up against me in 1935 and joined himself with those who were bent on taking my life away. And those who were bent upon taking life away. This was for no cause other than jealousy and envy of my mission. May Allah strike them with terror and grief, that they may not have rest day nor night, for they return to me evil for good. I have been better to them than they were to me. Let Allah judge between me and the hypocrites and the disbelievers who take Allah and His messenger and religion for mockery. Amen.
This is Minister Kamal Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Allah Subhanahu number 1. Beware of false promises. The government only wants to pacify her once slaves with fancy false promises that she knows she cannot fulfill without the loss of friendship and bloodshed among her own people. But there is nothing like a good future in these rosy promises for the so-called Negroes. Why should the government hinder us? We want from this earth and its treasures of raw materials to build us an independent nation, as you and other nations have done. We want to live in peace. It is impossible to get along with you in peace while you cannot even get along with each other in peace. We were created of the essence of peace, while you were created of the essence of evilness, and evilness you will always do to either self or others. That awful day of yours will surely come, that appointed hour you are hasting by your evil intentions and doing to us, the poor black people. We who have given our sweat and blood for all our lives today, we cry for justice, and you send our armed forces with trained wild dogs to kill us as it is written of you. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he does not resist you. James chapter 5, verse 6. You send armies of heavily armed policemen to slay the unarmed so-called Negroes. This act of murder of unarmed people show that you are brave or cowards. You, like your fathers, hate and despise slaves, and you beat and murder them daily. And after such inhuman treatment, you want them to love you so that you may carry out your evil doings on them without resistance. The beating and killing of those among us who say they are Muslims is most surely hastening your doom. You hate them because Allah has revealed the truth to them, and you are angry and seek to take revenge on them for what Allah has made known to them of truth. There is no solution to the problem between the slave masters and their slaves other than the one slaves are going for self, for they have become a nation in a nation. One or the other must leave the other or suffer death. It is the will of Allah God that the two be separated. Both books, the Bible and Holy Quran, prophecy of a separation between the two people. A temporary solution will only increase the trouble of finding a peaceful solution between the two people. It is the government that is hindering a peaceful solution to this problem. It is true that the government does not want slaves, but it is equally true that she does not want slaves to go from here where they can become independent. We, the Muslims, are sure to help from him, Allah, who has visited us in the name of Master Muhammad, God in person. The long-awaited Mahdi, who was to come and has come to slay the enemies of the righteous. He, Allah, has the power over everything, small or great. He will let you kill a few of us that he may be justified in killing all of you for the murder of the righteous. For all the righteous, you and your people have slain since you were created. We will, by the help of Allah, unite. We will get some of this earth by the help of Allah that we can call our own. Amen.
This is Minister Amari Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Allah's simple number 1. The teachings of the Holy Quran on obedience. Say, obey Allah and the Messenger, but if they turn back, Allah surely loves not the disbelievers. Holy Quran chapter 3 verse 31. The religion of Islam demands strict obedience to Allah and His Messenger. The word Islam means submission, obedience. Obedience to God Allah is not accepted if one is disobedient to the Messenger. The Messenger believes in what has been revealed to him from his Lord, and so do the believers. Holy Quran chapter 2 verse 285. A true follower of the Messenger believes as the Messenger believes, but a hypocrite pretends he believes, but is not at all a believer. There are those who claim they are believers but are sympathizers of the hypocrites. Those are the ones who will never say anything one way or the other, fearing that they will show their sympathy for the hypocrite. Such ones are warned in the Holy Quran. Behold, you are they who may contend on their behalf in this world's life, but who will contend with Allah on their behalf on the resurrection day. Holy Quran chapter 4 verse 109. There are those who like to dispute and act hostile towards the Messenger of Allah. They are also warned in the same chapter. And whoever acts hostilely to the Messenger after guidance has become manifest to him, and follows other than the way of the believers, we turn him to that to which he turns himself, and make him enter hell, and it is an evil resort. Holy Quran chapter 4 verse 115. This refers to those whom the Messenger has guided to Allah on the right path, and who has tasted the blessings of Allah and then turn back to that which they have been brought out of. And here Allah causes them to meet with a worse condition than they left. This is tasted by such ones in this life. Allah does not spare a messenger's nearest of kin or their wives and children. See Holy Quran chapter 66 verses 1 to 11. Which reads, O Prophet, why dost thou forbid thyself, that which Allah has made lawful for thee? Seekest thou to please thy wife, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Allah indeed has sanctioned for you the expiation of your oaths, and Allah is your patron. He is the knowing, the wise. and when the prophet confided an information to one of his wives. But when she informed others of it, Allah informed him of it, and he made known part of it and passed over part. So when he told her of it, she said, "Who informed thee of this?" He said, "The knowing, the one aware, informed me." If you both turn to Allah, then indeed your hearts are inclined to this. And if you back up one another against him, then surely Allah is his patron. And Gabriel and the righteous believers, and the angels after that are the aiders. Maybe his Lord, if he divorce you, will give him your place wives better than you. Submissive, faithful, obedient, penitent, adorers, fasters, widows, and virgins. O you who believe, save yourselves and your families from a fire whose steel is men and stones. Over it are angels, stern and strong. They do not disobey Allah in that which He commands them, but do as they are commanded. O you who disbelieve, make no excuses this day. You are rewarded only as you did. O you who believe, turn to Allah with sincere repentance, and maybe your Lord will remove from you your evil and cause you to enter gardens wherein flow rivers. On the day on which Allah will not abase the Prophet and those who will believe with him, their light will gleam before them, and on their right hands they will say, "Our Lord, make perfect for us our light, and grant us protection. Surely thou art possessor of power of all things." O Prophet, strive against the disbelievers and the hypocrites, and remain firm against them, and their abode is hell, and evil is their resort. Allah sets forth an example for those who disbelieve, the wife of Noah and the wife of Lot. They were both under two of our righteous servants, but they acted treacherously towards them, so they availed them not against Allah, and it was said, "Enter the fire with those who enter." And Allah sets forth an example for those who believe, the wife of Pharaoh, when she said, "My Lord, build for me a house with thee in the garden, and deliver me from Pharaoh and his work, and deliver me from the iniquitous people." And Allah will chastise messengers if they disobey him, but Allah does not allow us to be the judge of his messengers, nor does he make a second choice in choosing a messenger for another. Read his stories of prophets of God. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey his messenger, and make not your deeds vain. Surely those who disbelieve and hinder men from Allah's way then die disbelievers. Allah will not forgive them. Holy Quran, chapter 47, verses 33 and 34. And God is very hard on those who disobey his messenger. He warns in his Holy Quran to not to quarrel and dispute or raise our voices above the messenger's voice. Strict respect and honor is demanded for his messengers. We should not take them lightly. We may underestimate them without knowledge. Amen.
This is Minister Rebecca Rockman of the Nation of Islam, Allah's Temple number 1. Victory of the Apostle, the hypocrites. Announce to the hypocrites that they shall have a painful chastisement. Allah will gather together the hypocrites, the unbelievers, all in hell. Surely the hypocrites strive to deceive Allah, and he shall requite their deceit to them. Surely the hypocrites are the lowest stage of the fire, and you shall not find a helper for them, except for those who repent and amend and hold fast to Allah, and they are sincere in their obedience to Allah. These are with believers, and Allah will grant the believers a mighty reward. Holy Quran, chapter 4, verse 140. And in verse 142, it reads, verse 141, it reads, "Those who wait for his misfortune for you, then if you have a victory from Allah, they say, we are not with you. And if there is a chance for the disbeliever, they say, did we not prevail over you and defend you from the believers? So Allah will judge between on the day of resurrection, and Allah will not by no means give the disbeliever a way against the believer. And in verse 142 it reads, the hypocrites seek to deceive Allah and will requite their deceit to them. And when they stand up for prayer, they stand up sluggishly. They do it only to be seen of men and remember Allah but a little. And in verse 45 it reads, the hypocrites are surely in the lowest depths of the fire, and that will find no helper for them. And in verse 138 it reads, give news to the hypocrites that for them is a painful chastisement. The Holy Quran has the same announcement for all disbelievers and hypocrites of the messenger. It is also the same given to Noah and his followers. It is the same given to all disbelievers, believing foes, and hypocrites. Hypocrites around Moses, Jesus, Muhammad were given the same warning, and they, the hypocrites, were prophesied in the Holy Quran, which is very true book, to be the same type of hypocrites and to be saying the same words to the last apostle and his true followers today as they did to the former prophets and their followers. My followers here in America and the hypocrites among them are now being manifested to be the same as all others in the past. The hypocrites utter the same words and make mockery of the messenger and his followers and plan to do harm to us, just as the hypocrites of the past did all other messengers and their followers. The Holy Quran says that the last apostle, all apostles before you were mocked and called liars. But Allah reminds the last apostle to think of his disapproval of other hypocrites and disbelievers. He destroyed them when some of the hypocrites returned after they had tasted the chastisement. We have today such a perfect fulfillment of the prophecy of the Quran in the recent outbreak of hypocrisy among my followers. The chief hypocrite of them all, and the worst of them all, has never stopped in his attempt to do harm to my mission. The Holy Quran teaches that they will fight you with their tongues and even with their hands. So their tongues were not sufficient. They wanted quick action. So the chief hypocrite resorted to arming his followers as well as himself with 30 caliber weapons. Knowing that my followers and I had not resorted to such weapons, they intended to spring a surprise attack by mowing us down. What happened? He and his ignorant followers had forgotten that God was with me and my followers. They did not know that they could not stop us with weapons. The hypocrites always will be the losers. The chief hypocrite took a group with him to build a mosque in opposition to me and filled it with all types of wickedness and disbelieving like himself. He wished the praise of the people and not of God. He had said everything imaginable against me, which likely will hurt him and those who follow him more than he thinks. He wants the world to recognize him as a qualified leader. He should seek the recognition of Allah. Allah is the one who makes a leader for his people. But this chief hypocrite is not with Allah. If he were with Allah, he would be with me. Since he is not with Allah, he cannot claim guidance from Allah. He has admitted that he cannot trust a religion and cannot trust a God who teaches when to act. He wants to act when he is ready to act, rather than depend upon God, who will act in his own good time. He does not wait on God like that. Many other such fools pass away in great dishonor and shame long before his chief hypocrite. No weapon, as it is written, formed against me will prosper as long as Allah is with me and I am with Allah, because the twine will never break. We always shall be together. Again, the enemy and together for the believers. Some of the hypocrites have come to know all these things but they must be punished. A hypocrite is one who first says he believes in Islam and then disbelieves and seeks to oppose the message and those who believe in him and his God. The punishment says that Holy Quran in several places is grief, regret, shame, and disgrace. I will never forget the hypocrite's hateful acts against me. If he is the last of 22 million, I shall remind him of his evil and wicked acts done to me in return for the good that I had did for him. He could not even have risen up against me had I not given him so much knowledge of Allah and his religion. When I made him a leader and a teacher among the people, he felt proud. He now thinks that he should be elected top man, but I am sure that he will be appointed the lowest man. He went first on the side of the Muslims and then on the side of the devils and again on the side of the Muslims and against the devils. He, as the Holy Quran says, neither this nor that. His greatest desire is for someone to declare him as their leader. He is insane for leadership and disgrace himself for that office. As I have repeatedly taught, and the scholars and scientists will agree with me, the so-called Negroes must have a divine leadership today. The leader must be divinely appointed, not self-made or made by the people. This is universally known. I am that man, divinely appointed by Allah. According to the Bible and Holy Quran, punishment is sure to overtake hypocrites and those who seek to oppose Allah and his apostle. I quote here in a verse from the Holy Quran, do they not know that whoever acts in opposition to Allah and his apostle, he shall surely have the fire of hell to abide in, and it is the grievous abasement. Holy Quran, chapter 9, verse 63. That is the hell that the hypocrite and the disbeliever will suffer, and it begins with their feeling of fear and excitement. Fear that someone is going to do harm to them, as they plan to harm those who oppose. There is no fear for the true believer, nor shall he grieve. This grief of the hypocrites, according to the Holy Quran, prostrates them and makes them wish that they were dead. They even wish for someone to kill them. But Allah, the Holy Quran says, will not permit anyone to kill them because death would take them out of their chastisement and grief. They will not bow in submission to the will of Allah and obedience in the following of his messenger. And after a year or so under this condition, they are classified with the devil to be destroyed in hellfire. And finally, in Tebow, the Bible last book under the title of the Revelation of John prophesies a great falling upon the followers, the so-called American Negroes, of the symbolic beast, the white men who are in the beast's name and who worship and believe in the white man's religion called Christianity. They worship the white man as though he was God, above the supreme God of heaven and earth. And they also worship the white man's leadership of the Christian religion, the Pope of Rome. This is mentioned in Revelation chapter 14, verse 4. Pardon me one second. These are they that which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb, whosoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among the men, being the first fruit unto God and to the Lamb. The grief of the hypocrite is such that even the victim is not able to say his prayers in the first place. God has closed the door and does not hear the prayers of the hypocrite. When he sends chastisement upon them, this is in store from my hypocrites and shall befall them at any time, just as it did the hypocrites of 1935. We're actually witnessing this type of chastisement that fell upon those hypocrites of 1935. One of the hypocrites then was my own brother, and another was a minister by the name of Augustus Muhammad, my top assistant at that time, and in the Chicago Mosque number 2. They felt proud that they had acquired a little wisdom and thought that they were more powerful than the teacher. I have been told directly by the hypocrites that they think it is time for a change, that a younger man should take my place, and they even go as far as to designate a person whom they think should take my place. I look at them and say within myself, what a fool you are. How can you appoint someone to take my place when I did not appoint myself? God Almighty appointed me. You are foolish to play with God's mission and his messenger to the mentally dead nation. You take it lightly that you can vote out, put down, or shoot down God's messenger and set up another of your choice. What will you do with the next group of hypocrites who may not like the man of your choice? They may shoot both you and your man down and take over. Let the hypocrites be aware that there is a great chastisement in store for them, and their aim, purpose, and wishes will never materialize. The Holy Quran teaches that their grief will be so severe that it will prostrate them, and they will be unable even to blink their eyes, and that which they fear will come to pass. What they actually fear is exposure as the losers who had lied. Punishment for wishing their grief upon the messenger and those with him. Victory of the messenger over them. They shall suffer the loss of true friendship, and they are not helped. They go to the devil for friendship and turns them down because he knows that they will not be able to help him against Allah and the apostle, because Allah and his apostle are considered submerged into one. The apostle is considered one in Allah, and Allah is one in the apostle. So when you look at one, you see both. When you hear one speak, you hear both, because they are both are as one in their agreement, for their right and against the disbeliever. Therefore, Allah brings this to pass, as it was in Noah's day. So shall it be in the day of the last apostle, whom God raises from the mentally dead Negroes of North America. Amen.
This is Minister Daim of the Nation of Islam, Allah number 1. The judgment on universal corruption. Corruption has appeared in the land and the sea on account of that which men's hands have wrought, that he may make them taste a part of that which they have done, so that they may return. Holy Quran, chapter 30, verse 41. Allah, the All-Wise, the Best Knower, who has knowledge of the past, the present, and the future, revealed this above prophecy to Muhammad. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, nearly 1,400 years ago, as though it were taking place during that time. However, it was referring to these days, and we see the manifestation and fulfillment of the above verse. There is no doubt in anyone's mind today that the condition of the nations is such that needs a ruler who is not involved in the present world of corruption to bring about peace and good goodwill among the people of the earth. There cannot be peace for the lovers who seek after peace until the peace breakers have been removed from authority, and their activities of mischief making, causing bloodshed, grief, sorrow, and trouble among peace-loving nations. There is not a civilized government of people at this writing that is not in trouble and trying to find a solution to the cause. All the nations of the earth are so corrupted with other than good that they cannot come to an agreement on any. They cannot come to any agreement on peace with each other, then carry it into practice. The disagreement and corruption today is seen not only in the Christian world of Europe and America, but also in the very heart of the Holy Land in Africa and Asia. Corruption started in Europe, and it has now spread over 9/10 of the population of the planet Earth. It has caused the dissatisfaction of nearly 100% of the civilized nations. Dissatisfaction has reached such a percentage that it is bound to bring about universal war, since the corruption is universal. The continuing disagreement between the heads of the nations is referred to as confusion and conflict in the Bible and Holy Quran. In this world of universal corruption and crises and the ever-growing threat of universal war, we, the so-called American Negroes, the lost-found members of the tribe of Shabazz, should unite and take our stand on the side of Allah God, His religion of peace, Islam, and our own nation, the black people. Amen.
This is Minister Rafiq of the Nation of Islam, Allah Simple Number 1. The breakup of the old world. According to the changes of civilization by Allah and His messengers from Moses to this day and the last messenger, the resurrection and return of the lost and found mentally dead members of the aboriginal people of Earth, the black nation, is now. Today we live at the end of the world of people who have ruled the black man and his various colors between black and white for the last 6,000 years. The world of disbelievers and hypocrites know these are the days and the end of the rule of the white man. I am referring to the rule of the people mentioned by Jesus, Allah, and the Holy Quran as being a people who were created or grafted so that they might be tried at ruling the righteous for the past 6,000 years. Their first 2,000 years were spent in the caves and hillsides of Europe, the only appointed continent of Allah for that people. They suffered divine chastisement for the first 2,000 years on this continent for their troublemaking and for their causing war and bloodshed among the original black people who had not suffered from wars, exploitation, and slavery before the creation, grafting of this people by their father, Yaqub. Today they have filled the earth with their wickedness, and there is 100% dissatisfaction against their continued rule over the nations of the black people. Allah now has put it in the hearts of the original people to forsake them and to separate from them, from living to themselves as they did before the grafting of this race of people by Yaqub. We find it as hard to separate from them as it was 600 years after they were grafted from us. In those days, they fought back to remove them from among the righteous, the original black people of Arabia. In that war, Allah was successful, driving them, most of them, out into what is now known today as Europe. EU stands for hills and cave sides of the continent, and ROPE, rope, means a place where that people were bound in. Since 1492, the people of the white race have been allowed to spread over the face of the earth, to have the freedom of deceiving all that they could. To learn more about them, let us read and study their history. Read the Bible and Revelation of John under the title The Beast and the Dragon. Their history shows troublemaking, murder, and death to all darker people from the far-off islands and mainlands of Asia, as well as the South Seas and the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. All have been touched by their destructive hand and evil way of civilization, and finally the bringing of my people to make their destruction assured. Actually, it was suicide for them to have brought our fathers in slavery. This act was charged to them by the supreme divine being as being the most wicked people on the earth. Now we see the results in the fight of the ignorant among our people to gain sincere love from a people who have no sincere love among themselves. They have never practiced sincere love according to their own history of war-making, robbery, murder, and exploitation among themselves. This is clear to you who see and understand. The so-called Negro has been made blind, deaf, and dumb by them, that even the intellectual blacks now are blind and seek to make love and friendship with the people of the devil and Satan. The day of decision between the darker races or nations was begun by God Himself in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom be praised forever, and is prophesied in the Bible. Multitudes in the valley of decision for the day before or by 1970 of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 14. It is clear that the armies of the nations of the earth have geared themselves for a showdown between their forces and Allah and the Nation of Islam. We, the so-called American Negroes, the lost and found members of our nation, are in this decision. The second and third verses of the same chapter, chapter 3, read like this: I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, Europe and Asia, between black and white, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, the lost found, so-called Negroes, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land between the European white race, and they have casted lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. Book of Joel, chapter 3, verses 2 and 3. America has fulfilled this to the very letter and spirit with her slaves, the so-called Negroes, under the type Israel. The Egyptians did nothing of the kind to Israel when they were in bondage to them. In fact, as God taught me, the Bible is not referring to those people as his people. It is referring to the so-called Negro and his enemy, the white race. The 7th verse also gives us a hint in this way: Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 7. The slave masters of our fathers must reap what they have sown. Allah calls them to war in the 9th verse of the same chapter. Proclaim you among the Gentiles, prepare for war, wake up the mighty men, let all of those men of war draw near, let them come up. Book of Joel, chapter 3, verse 9. And the mighty men of science and modern warfare have been called in an effort to devise instruments and weapons against God and the armies of heaven. The nations of the earth are angry. The disbelievers and hypocrites of my people are also angry over the change of the old world to a new world of justice and righteousness, causing much spiritual darkness and misunderstanding to fall upon them. They want to judge the person Allah should choose for his messenger. Believers, be aware of this chief hypocrite who has, for the past year, stepped beyond the limits in trying to keep people from following me. See the Holy Quran, chapter 68, verses 10 through 16, which reads, And obey not any mean swearer, defamer, going about with slanderer, hinderer of good, outstepping the limits, sinful, ignoble, besides all that, notoriously mischievous, because he possesses wealth and sons. When our messengers are recited to him, he says, Stories of those are yours. We shall brand him on the snout. I am no more to suffer the evil and slanderous talk of the disbelievers, as though they are the judges of Allah's messenger, as did the messengers before me. Not one of you, of the 22 million, who do not believe in the truth that I am teaching, will harm me in the very least. You are harming only yourselves. As I have said, Allah has given me the key to your mental death here in America, hell. I am not allowed by him to even beg you to believe, because the truth is plain enough for a fool to see and say that it is the truth. Amen.
Next is Kamal Muhammad of the Nation of Islam. Allah simple number 1. The day of America's downfall. Allah manifests the fall of America. He desires to make America fall as a warning to her brothers in Europe. White Americans and Germans, Allah has taught me, are the most wicked of the white race. The wicked deeds that have been performed are still being performed by white Americans upon the so-called Negroes. Their slaves are the worst in the annals of history. They have been clever enough in their wickedness to make the so-called Negro slaves love them, though they are their open enemies and murderers. Allah in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, to whom be praised forever, now judges the American whites, and is causing America's fall and total destruction. Egypt under Pharaoh is an example. It fulfills the signs and other prophecies of the doom of this people as foretold by the prophets from Noah and Jesus. Moses and Jesus are the most outstanding prophets in the history of the Caucasian race for the past 4,000 years. There are several other contemporaries, but Moses and Jesus are the major prophets of the white race's history. The whole of the civilized world today, as prophesied in Isaiah, is against the white man of America. Allah hates the wicked American whites and threatens to remove them from the face of the earth. Since white Americans and the white race in general have deceived the entire world of black people and their brethren, brown, red, and yellow, Allah now is causing these people to wake up and see the white race is as really as it is. Their created enemy of the darker people as we see today, there is a general awakening of the darker people into the knowledge of self and the knowledge of their age-old, 6,000 years enemies all over the earth. The American white race cannot sincerely give the so-called Negroes, their slaves, a square deal. She only desires to deceive them. Today, America is trying, against her will, to give the so-called Negro the civil rights, which is against the very nature and will of the white race, for the first time since the black man has been here. America falsely offers him social equality in certain parts of the country. This social equality consists mostly of permitting the American black race to mix openly with the white man and his women, the devils. The actual idea, however, is to grant the so-called Negroes social equality among the lower class of whites. This is done so that the scriptures wherein the prophecy that the white man tempts and corrupts the so-called Negroes with his women might be fulfilled. God has taught me that the white race was grafted unalike, and being unalike, it is able to attract the black man and black woman, getting them to do all evil and indecency known to the white race. The years 1965 and 1966 are going to be fateful for America, bringing in the fall of America. As one of the prophets of the Bible prophesies in regard to her, as the morning spreads abroad upon the mountains, a great and strong people set battle array. Joel chapter 2, verse 2. This is the setting of the nations for a showdown to determine who will live on the earth. The survivor is to build a nation of peace to rule the people of the earth forever under the guidance of Almighty God Allah, with the nation setting forth for a final war at this time. God pleads for his people, the inheritors of the earth, the so-called Negroes. The so-called Negro is the prey of the white man of America, being held firmly in the white man's power, along with 2 million Indians who must be redeemed at this time and will be if the so-called Negro turns to his redeemer. The problem of the American black man is his unwillingness to be separated from his 400-year-old enemies. The problem, therefore, is harder to solve, especially with the enemy trying to fascinate the Negro with his lower-class girls and women arraying them partly nude before the Negroes in every public news medium, cheap daily newspaper and magazines, radio and TV, and the Negro is quick to imitate. The problem between these two people, separating and dignifying the so-called Negroes so they may be accepted and respected as equals or superiors to other nations, must be solved. This is God's promise to the so-called Negro, the lost and found members of the original black nation of the earth. This promise was made through the mouths of his prophets, Bible and Quran, that he would separate us from our enemies, dignify us, and make us the masters after this wicked race has been judged and destroyed for its own evils. But as I said, the solving of this problem, which means the redemption of the Negro, is hard to do, since he loves his enemies. See Bible, Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15. Which reads, the Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, unto him ye shall hearken. Psalms, Isaiah, Matthew chapter 25, verse 32. Which reads, and before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And Revelation chapter 14. Which reads, And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Sion, and with him 144,000 having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder, and I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for there are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the foundation, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yes, take the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come to thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that hath the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the angel thrust in the sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even until the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs. The manifestation of a law and judgment between the so-called Negro and the enemy of God and the nation of Islam will make the so-called Negro see and know his enemy in himself, his people, his God, and his religion. We hear the statements of black educational, political, and Christian classes, which express their love for the white man, publicly asking to be his brothers, if not his brothers-in-law. Now, this class wants to make it clear to the world that they really love the white race and not the black race. This means they want to be white instead of black. The devils have made them hate black. They reject the thought of black ever being the ruler or equal with the ruler. They ask boldly for inferiority, not only for themselves, but for their people. They want to absorb themselves and their kind, especially the so-called American Negro, into the race of white people, thus ending the black race. It is just the opposite with the law, God, myself, and my followers. We want out completely. We want no claim to kinship with the people who, by nature, are not our kin. We, from Genesis to the Revelation in Bible, and from Surah to Surah, read from Genesis to Revelation in the Bible, and from Surah to Surah 114 of the Holy Quran. By no means are the so-called Negroes and the white skin God did not create them to ever become brothers. One is created an enemy against the other, and since the righteous are more powerful than the wicked, Allah, the God of righteous, set a time of reckoning for the enemy of the white man, of the righteous. We want separation. We want a home on this earth we can call our own. We want to go for self and leave the enemy who has been sentenced to death by Allah. Revelation chapter 20, verses 10 through 14. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and shewed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God, and her light was like unto a stone, most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. From the day he was created, see this subject in the Bible and Quran. No one, white, black, brown, yellow, or red, can prove to me by any scriptures of Allah, God, sent by one of the prophets of Allah, that we should not be separated from the white race, that we should believe and follow the religion dictated, shaped and formed by the theologians of the white race. The coming of Allah and the judgment of the wicked world is made clear by the prophetic sayings of the prophets. The so-called reverends and the proud intellectual class are doomed to destruction with the enemy if they remain with him instead of joining unto Allah, who loves them and who will deliver them and the nation of Islam. The so-called Negro masses must be warned of the grave mistake they make in following the leadership of those who love and befriend their murderers. This will not get them freedom or civil rights. America is falling. Her doom has come, and none said the prophet shall help her in the day of her downfall. In the Bible, God pleads with you to fly out of her, America, and seek refuge in him. Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. Which reads, And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. What is going to happen in 1973 and 1974? It certainly will change your minds about following a doomed people, a people who hate you and your kind, and who call one who teaches the truth about them a hater. They are the producers of hatred of us. We are with God and the righteous. Amen.
This is Minister Amari Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Allah's people number 1. America is falling, her doom is sealed. I compare the fall of America with the fall of ancient Babylon. Her wickedness sins is the same as history shows of ancient Babylon. Babylon is suddenly fallen and the destroyed howl for her. Take balm for her pains, if so she may be healed. Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 81. What were the sins of ancient Babylon? According to history, she was rich. She was proud, and her riches increased her corruption. She had every merchandise that the nations wanted or demanded. Her ships carried her merchandise to the ports of every nation. She was a drunkard. Wine and strong drinks were in her daily practice. She was filled with adultery and murder. She persecuted and killed the people of God. She killed the saints and prophets of Allah God. Hate and filthiness, gambling, sports of every evil, as you practice in America, were practiced in Babylon. Only America is modern and much worse. Ancient Babylon was destroyed by her neighboring nations. I warn you to let their destruction serve as a warning for America. This people has gone to the limit in doing evil, as God dealt with ancient people. So will he deal with the modern Babylon, America. As God says, Son of man, when the land people sinneth against me by trespassing grievously, then will I stretch out mine hand upon it, and will break the staff of the bread thereof, and will send the famine upon it, and will cut off man and beast from it. Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 13. We see it with our own eyes, but the wicked Americans are too proud to confess that they see the bread of America gradually being cut off. Take a look into the Southwest and Middle West. See the hand of Allah God at work against modern Babylon. To break the whole staff of her bread for her evils done against his people, the so-called Negroes. Texas and Kansas were once two of the nation's proudest states. Kansas, known for its wheat, and Texas, known for its cattle, cotton, corn, and many other vegetables and fruits. They are today in the grip of a drought, continuous raging dust storms. Their riverbeds lie bare, their fish stinking on the banks in dry, parched mud. When the rain comes, it brings very little relief and does more damage than good. Snow comes, it brings not joy, but death and destruction. After the snow comes more dust storms. With the rain comes hailstones, very large stones. America has not seen the large hailstones. She will see hailstones the size of small blocks of ice breaking down crops, trees, the roofs of homes, killing cattle and fowl. Behind this terrific earthquake, the people, frightened, killed, much sickness, and death will be widespread. You are getting a token of it now. On the outside, a threat of an atomic war between the nations of the earth. Yet you have your eyes closed at the manifest judgment of Allah God going in your midst to bring this country to naught. Allah God has found his people, the so-called Negroes, and is angry with the slave masters for the evil done by them to his people, the so-called Negroes. Allah God is going to repay them according to their doings. My poor people who have turned to their own God and religion, Allah and Islam, are being tracked down and watched as though they are about to rob a bank. This is done to trap and put them in fear, so that they might stay away from their God Allah and his true religion Islam, as the devil knows their salvation and defense. They, the devils, watch the steps of the righteous and seek to slay them. In the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 32, it reads, "The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him." The so-called Negroes live under the very shadow of death in America. There is no justice for them in the courts of their slave masters. Why should not America be chastised for her evils done to the so-called Negroes? If God destroyed ancient Babylon for the mockery made of the sacred vessels taken from the temple in Jerusalem, what do you think Allah God should do for America's mockery of the so-called Negroes, that she took from their native land and the people and filled them with wine and whiskey? Now she, America, puts on a show of temptation with their women, white men, women in newspapers, magazines, in the streets half nude, and posing in the so-called Negroes' face in the most indecent manner that is known to mankind, to trick them, so-called Negroes, to death and hell along with them. Be wise, my people, and shut your eyes to them. Do not look at them in such an indecent way. Clean your homes of white people's pictures and put your own on the walls. The only so-called Negroes' pictures you will see in their homes are the ones they have lynched, one they want to kill, or the one who has betrayed his own people for them. America is falling. She is a habitation of devils, and every uncleanness and hateful people of the righteous. Forsake her and fly to your own before it is too late. Amen.
Minister Rebecca Rockman of the Nation of Islam, Allah Temple number 1. The decline of the dollar. The stronghold of the American government is falling to pieces. She has lost her prestige among the nations of the earth. One of the greatest powers of America was her dollar. The loss of such power will bring any nation to weakness, for this is the media of exchange between nations. English pound and the American dollar have been the power and beckoning light of these two great powers. But when the world went off the gold and silver standard, the financial doom of England and America was sealed. The pound has lost 50% of its value. American dollar has lost everything now as power backing for the currency, which was once backed by gold for every $5 note, and up to all of her currency was backed by silver from a $1 note and up. Today, the currency of America is not backed by any sound value, silver or gold. The note today is something that the government declares will give you the value in return, but does not name that value. They definitely are not backing their currency with silver or gold. This is the number one fall, and it is very clear that the loss of the power of America dollar means the loss of the financial power of America. What will happen since there is no sound backing for her note? We do not know what we should expect even in the next 12 months under the fall of the power of America's dollar. This means that we have 100% inflation, which could happen under 100% inflation. Your guess is as good as mine. The power of gold and silver was once abundant in America, but the touch of the finger of God against the power of the so mighty a nation has now caused the crumbling and fall of America. We can easily and truthfully liken the fall of America to the prophetic symbolic picture given in the Bible, Revelations of John, chapter 18, verse 2. 1 second, please. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become a habitation of devils in the hole of every foul spirit and cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The name Babylon used there does not really say whether it is ancient Babylon or a picture of some future Babylon. The description is given as follows. And he, angel, cried mightily with a strong voice, with authority, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become a habitation of devils. Allah has declared the people to be a race of devils, in the hole of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. The description here is given to Babylon by the prophet, compared with the present history and people of America and their fall. The picture shows the cause of her fall. First, she had become the habitation of devils, making her a haven for every people that love the works and doings of the devil. Here, the prophet refers to them symbolically as being a hole of every foul spirit and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. People are referred to as birds, snakes, beasts, fish, and other animals to tell or represent the characteristics of that person. It is universally known that the very beginning of the American people was from the lower class of European people. Their first ruler, President Washington, was a fugitive from England. The common dissatisfaction and lower grade of European people followed and boosted this authority. This filled the inhabitant America with a very low class and low-based people. Then this type of people went into Africa and purchased slaves from among our people who were also uneducated, most of them, but there were few who were highly educated. All of them began to mix with the low-based, evil-minded, real citizens of the Western Hemisphere, white. When America began to get strong in power, she opened her doors to the underprivileged laborers in overpopulated countries such as China, Japan, and other European states to seek citizenship in America. This brought America into being one of the most mixed people who were ever granted the freedom to live any kind of their life they chose. They were not forced to serve the God of the universe who made heaven and earth or any religion. They had freedom to worship. This made America a haven for any people who wished to be free of the compelling aspects of religion and just rule and authority. This people for the past 500 years has put into practice every evil that is imaginable. The freedom of uncleanliness is granted and is worshipped. The percentage of sexual worship of the same sex is greater than any other government on the face of the earth. Little children are being taught sex almost from the cradle, making the whole nation, as one man put it, nearly 90% freaks of nature. On the streets of any metropolitan city in America, it is common to see men sweethearting with men and women sweethearting with women, little boys with boys and little girls with girls. It is so common that the decent family is puzzled as to where to send their children for schooling. There is no all-girls school as there once were. There are all-girls schools for sweethearts. The same sex falling upon their own. Boys' college are breeding such filthy practice. The jail prisons and federal penitentiaries are all breeding dens of homosexuals. As the prophet says in the 18th chapter, he is a cave of every unclean and hateful bird. There are types of hateful birds. That is why a symbolic name is given. It means human beings. These are birds of prey and birds that are unclean, such as crows, owls, buzzards, and ravens, who live and thrive off the carcasses of others. And there are unclean people living, thriving off the unclean. It is time that God intervenes to bring about an end to such people as the wicked of America. He offers the same skill to all of the citizen people, civilized people of the earth, and she hates you if you are against her way of life, and will threaten you with death, as Sodomites did Lot and his followers. But I say to you, in the 4th verse of the chapter 18 says, you that want to be a better people than this, come out of her. The so-called American Negroes are referred to here in the 4th verse as being God's people, my people. Come out of her, that ye may not be partakers of her sins, that ye may receive not her plague. This is called to the American so-called Negroes to give up a doomed wicked people that have destroyed them from being a people worthy of recognition and who have now become lovers of their enemies and destroyers. This verse tells us her sins have reached into heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities and is ready to destroy her. Her destruction cometh quickly, according to the 8th verse, that plagues of death, mourning, and famine, which cometh in the one day, 1 year, and then after that shall she be destroyed by fire, utterly burned. This is backed up in these words. Strong is the Lord God who judged her. Here he gives us a knowledge that he who judged is well able with power, with wisdom, and with this deliberate and careful maneuvering to give judgment against her. Amen.
That concludes our reading of Message to the Black Man in America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Our next reading will be on Sunday for our Sunday school, and the order will go as follows. Daim will read The Resurrection of Our People on page 278. I will read Make America Know Her Sins. Kamal will read A House Doomed to Fall. Amaria will read The Fulfillment of Prophecy Seen. And Sister Rebecca will read Rise and Fall of the Christian West. And we will now hear from the Son of Man.
Name of Allah, who appeared and is in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Get your Bibles and turn to the book of Matthew.
Got it. Got it.
Turn to the 7th chapter.
Got it.
Rafiq, read the 6th verse.
Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast you your pearls before the swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you.
Yeah. There's a saying concerning wisdom. Wisdom is referred to sometimes as pearls. You know, the pearl of wisdom. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And here in the 7th chapter of the book of Matthew, Jesus said, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, and cast not pearls unto swine. There's a lot of teaching, quite a bit of wisdom to be unfolded in that one verse. You know. But, you know, when it says give not that which is holy unto dogs, you know, a dog is a creature, typically. You know, he's a dog can be, I should say, ungrateful. You can see a dog and smile at the dog and be kind to the dog. And the dog, you know, a lot of times he'll still bark at you and be mean to you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You can even feed a dog sometimes. And you're the one that provided the dog with sustenance. And if you're not careful, you know, a dog sometimes will bite that very hand that brought it food. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Jesus in the scripture tells us, forgive that which is holy unto the dog. You know, then it said, cast not your pearls to swine. Let me see if I'm reading that right. To give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
No, notice he didn't say cast God's pearls. He said your pearls. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, the word your denotes possession, like something that belongs to someone in particular. Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
Notice, Jesus didn't say, don't cast my pearls to the swine. He said, don't cast your pearls to the swine. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You know, Allah's made me a teacher, teach you things that you never thought about. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Talk about a pearl. You know, pearl is a jewel, is a object considered valuable that is found in the mouth of an oyster. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And you know, and the pearl, from my understanding, the way that it is made, a pearl, what happens is some dirt or something that irritates the oyster gets into the mouth of the oyster. It gets in there, and and the oyster becomes irritated. And, I guess you could say the immune system of the oyster begins to cover the irritant inside the oyster's mouth. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Like if you let's say you get a skin infection, you may develop a boil on your skin on some part of your body. Your immune system will send in, white blood cells to attack and kill foreign agent or the foreign object that's inside your body, and it will cause your skin to blister or to swell, and often the blister or the swelling has white blood cells that we call pus, and it discharges, the the white blood cells and whatever was irritating the body, and the body is made whole again. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so same thing goes with a pearl. While the pearl's in the sea, in the ocean, and the oyster's eating or doing what an oyster does in the ocean, some piece of sand or something gets in the oyster's mouth, it irritates the oyster. And so the oyster's system begins to attack it and cover it. And what happens is that which was irritating the oyster becomes a beautiful pearl. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Wisdom is compared to that. Wisdom is compared to pearls. A lot of times when people go through things, they're able to give you what's called life lessons from their experiences. Or in other words, they're able to give you wisdom from things that they have experienced. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You will notice, if you go through my teachings, a lot of the things that I teach you, even though they are in harmony, the teachings of Elijah Muhammad, a lot of these teachings are my teachings. These are my pearls. This is my wisdom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So, in the book of Matthew, Jesus says, "Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, and cast not your pearls to swine." What's a swine? A swine is a pig. A pig is an ugly creature. He's a filthy creature. He's an ungrateful creature. He's an unclean creature. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He's a creature that scripturally we are not even to associate with. We're not to even touch a pig. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Just like the disbeliever and the hypocrite. We're not to even have company and have friendly relations with hypocrites and disbelievers. We're supposed to separate ourselves from them like they're a pig, like they're swine. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So Jesus said, don't give your pearls to swine. Don't give your wisdom to people that don't appreciate it.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
give your holy understanding of the Word of God. Don't give your understanding of the holy Word of God to dogs. People that, for no reason, mistreat you, and you've done nothing to them. Don't give your understanding of God's holy Word to them. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Rafiq, turn to the 8th book of Amos. The book of Amos, chapter 8.
Got it. Got it.
Read the first 7 verses.
You know the first 7 verses?
Read the first 7 verses of the 8th chapter of Amos.
Thus hath the Lord God shown unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruit. And he said, Amos, what seest thou? And I said, a basket of summer fruit. Then saith the Lord unto me, the end is come upon my people of Israel. I will not again pass by them any more. And the songs of the temple shall be howlings in that day, saith the Lord God. There shall be many dead bodies in every place. They shall cast them forth with silence. Hear this, O you that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sow corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small, and the shekel great, and falsifying the balances by deceit, that we may buy the poor for silver, and the needy for a pair of shoes, yea, and sell the refuse of the wheat. The Lord hath sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works.
A moment. Read the 5th verse again.
Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sow corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small, and the shekel great, excuse me, and falsifying the balances by deceit.
I remember I was talking to this brother in New York named Melchizedek, and we were talking about the teachings of Islam. And, brother was seemingly in agreement with what my understanding of the teachings of Islam was. And so he asked me, he's like, well, brother, want to get some of your books and tapes. How much you charge? How much is it, And I told him, I said, well, I don't charge. I said, it's all free. I said, everything I teach is online. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, according to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, he said we will have a new Islam, a new teaching. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I remember when I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and I was visiting with a brother down there named Brother Seth, and I came across him and a sister, and for whatever reason, this sister told me that she looked at me. She looked me right in my eyes. And for whatever reason, she was a sister in the nation, back in the day, whatever. She looked me right in my eyes. She said, Allah is going to reveal the new Islam through you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, when this was said to me, at the time, the only thing I had basically produced was the Black Messiah 2012. One thing I wasn't teaching nothing new, as far as I was concerned. Only thing I was teaching was what the messenger taught. I just didn't want people to be deceived. I wanted to present the people with the true teachings and the true understanding of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because I had been deceived, I had been tricked. And so that's basically what I was doing as far as I was concerned. But for whatever reason, the sister looked at me and said that Allah's going to reveal the new Islam through you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So when we think about Islam, when we think about the symbols of Islam, the most glaring and most prominent symbol of Islam is the crescent. Not the star and not the sun. It's that crescent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Even in the theater of war, you got the Red Cross for the Christians, and for the Muslims, you don't have the red star. You don't have the red sun. You got the red crescent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The moon is very, very much identified. That symbol is very, very much identified with Islam. Is the moon. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So we can say that the moon, if we was going to symbolize, for the sake of argument, if we were going to give Islam a symbol to be recognized, a universal symbol of Islam, we would use the crescent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So if we say that the crescent is the symbol for Islam, then if we are to, and if the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we will be given a new Islam, then that means we will be given a new moon, a new crescent. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Rafiq, read the 5th verse again.
Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sow corn, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small, and the shekel great, falsifying the balances by deceit.
Yeah. They don't give you the full teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. They'll take bits and pieces of what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught and sell it to you at a price, falsifying the balance, ever keeping you going back to them for bits and pieces of the messenger's teachings instead of just giving you what the messenger said. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Saying, when will the new moon be gone? When will this new teacher of Islam leave? He making it hard on us. Teaching all this new Islam and law and physics, metaphysics, all this new understanding that's in complete harmony with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. When is he going to die? When is he going to go away? When the devil going to come get him? When is he going? When is somebody going to shut his mouth? Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And why do they say this? When will the new moon be gone so that we can get back to business, selling Islam to the so-called Negro and making money off the teachings of the messenger? When will this new teacher of Islam be gone so we can get back to buying and selling the teachings of the messenger and the teachings of Islam? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That we may buy the poor for silver and the needy for a pair of shoes, and sell the refuge for wheat. The Lord hath sworn by the excellency of Jacob, surely I will never forget any of their works. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
What does this mean? When I had my first son, Daim, one of the names that I gave Daim, one of his names is excellence. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, here in the Bible, unless Daim is gonna, I'm making it funny. Unless Daim gonna get up here and start teaching, take over my job, then this scripture must mean something else. So I don't know if Daim gonna, knock me over and start teaching y'all, but if he don't do that, then I'm gonna have to go with this understanding of this verse concerning the excellency of Yaqub. What is the Lord said he swears by the excellency of Jacob. He's swearing by this. Well, what is the excellency of Jacob? What is the excellency of Yaqub that the Lord is swearing by? He's swearing by the excellency of Yaqub that he should never forget these people's works. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Well, what is the excellency of Jacob? What is the excellency of Yaqub? The excellency, only thing you got to do is go into the comment section and read what they have to say about my teaching. What do they say? Brother, your teachings are excellent. Your teaching is magnificent. You are a good teacher. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I've got comments after comments using this very word that my teaching, that my pearls of wisdom concerning Islam is excellent. My teachings are called excellent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Meaning the caliber of my teaching is excellent. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And if you call the caliber or quality of my teachings excellent, which they have, then you are saying that I am Excalibur, that my teachings are of an excellent caliber. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That the sword of truth that I swing and divide the word of God and teach unto you, you call it excellent, or you are saying that I have Excalibur. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So, you know, the interesting thing about when I speak to you on such matters, if you could only understand that I'm not seeking honor and fame and trying to put on Cinderella's slipper. I could care less. I'm not trying to put the slipper on. It just fit. I'm not the one that's been writing comments for the last 10 years that my teachings are excellent, just to come back today and to make this fit me. It has already happened. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the book says that the Lord has sworn by the excellency of Yaqub. I shall never forget that word. What does that mean? Meaning the Lord is Master Farad Muhammad. He has sworn by my excellent disposition of the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that he's not going to forget your evil work, that you are going to be judged. He's going to gather the righteous and judge the wicked. I have sworn by the excellency of Jacob, whom I promise you I will raise in the third day, whom Elijah, the child that was caught up to God, that descended from the throne of God with the book in his hand, with a rainbow of knowledge upon his head. I have sworn upon the excellency of Jacob, I ain't going to forget what y'all did. Or I have sworn by the excellency of Jacob, see, I ain't forgot what I said I was going to do about y'all. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Shall not the land tremble for this? And every one mourn that dwelleth therein? And it shall rise up wholly as a flood, and it shall be cast out and drowned as by the flood of Egypt? I bear witness. I mean, I don't know if you've been looking at what's going on across this country, but many thousands of acres of land is underwater right now. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And the 9th verse says, and it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm teaching tonight. When we say that it is noon, what does the noontime describe physically? What does that mean when it's noon?
The middle of the day.
Middle of the day. Anyone else?
It's when the sun is like most hot. It's like at the peak. Yeah, the sun is at its peak in terms of sunlight and heat.
The sun is at its peak in terms of sunlight and heat. Is that right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay. Well, the 9th verse says, "And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and will darken the earth in the clear day." Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
So according to Rafik and Sister Rebecca, that means, according to what we're reading, that during the day at noon, when the sun is at its highest point in the middle of the day, and how did you describe the noon, Rafik, again?
Peak heat and sunlight.
Peak at the peak heat and the peak heat and what else, son?
And the most sunlight.
And sunlight. God said that He's going to make the sun go down at that time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
But before we go into the interpretation of this, we got to go all the way back to verse 1. Read the first verse, Rafiq.
Thus hath the Lord God shown unto me, and behold, a basket of summer fruits.
So at the beginning of this scripture, at the beginning of this prophecy, God told Prophet Amos, or showed Amos, a basket of summer fruit. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Indicating to Prophet Amos that, or hinting that he's going to be talking to him about a certain time of year, the summer. Something during the summer of a certain time, something is going to take place. Behold, a basket of summer fruit. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
I mean, if God was going to show Amos something that was going to happen in the winter, why would He give Amos a basket of summer fruit? Why wouldn't He show Amos a basket of winter fruit? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the very first verse sets the tone of the prophecy, or it sets it gives you the context of the prophecy. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Context is important. If you ever start investing money and trading money, you have a really great understanding of context. Because if you trade in stocks, bonds, money, and if you don't have a good context on how to evaluate the environment that you're in, you will lose money. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
My sons have learned this. They was trading in the context of 5 minute, 1 minute, 15 minute, an hour, and were unsuccessful. But when they recognized that they should be trading in a different context, particularly on the daily chart, all of a sudden their losses became profits. They started winning. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So what is the lesson from that? If you don't have the proper context of your situation, you will lose. And if you are able to ascertain the proper context to evaluate your position, you will likely win. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If we don't have the proper context of this prophecy, we will not gain the proper understanding of what's taking place. And if we are able to ascertain the proper context of this prophecy in Amos, then we will likely be able to gain the proper understanding. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the context of this scripture is a basket of summer fruit. For whatever reason, this particular prophecy has something to do with the summertime. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
One moment. Excuse me. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now that we have the proper context of the prophecy, we know that we're not dealing with the fall, we're not dealing with the autumn, we're not dealing with the winter, and we're not dealing with spring, we're dealing with the summer. So we have the context. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So let's go back to verse 9. And it shall come to pass in that day. In what day? During a particular day of a summer. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Saith the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and will darken the earth in the clear day. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, what is the official first day of summer?
June 21st.
June 21st. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. What is the unofficial beginning of summer?
I don't know.
Memorial Day, May 30th. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the official start of summer is June 21st. The unofficial start of summer is Memorial Day. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean, think about it. When children get out of school for summer break, generally they're out weeks before June 21st. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So even in the public school system, children get out of school for the summer generally between Memorial Day and June 21st, between the unofficial and the official start of summer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
But there's something. But the question is, why is the official start of summer June 21st?
The equinox.
The equinox is in March and September.
To prepare for the harvest.
Prepare for the harvest.
Yes, sir.
But if you prepare, okay, well, no, but okay. Anyone else?
Is it something to do with the sun?
It's yes, sir. It's something to do with the sun.
Is that when we're closest to the earth? To the sun?
What you say?
Is that when we are closest to the sun on June 21st?
No, sir.
Does it have to do with the tilt of the earth?
It's the summer solstice.
Yes, That's my sweet baby. That's right, Amaria. It's the summer solstice. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Rafiq mentioned the equinox. The equinox is on, the spring equinox is on March the 21st. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
On the equinox, that means you have 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. Equinox. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But on June 21st, as Amaria has pointed out, June 21st is the summer solstice. Understood?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? On June 21st is the longest day of the year. After June 21st, the days will become shorter until the fall equinox, wherein you have 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night on September the 20th. And it will keep decreasing until December 21st, which is the winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the summer solstice is the longest day of the year. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
More generally, the sun is basically at its highest point to the earth. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
June is the 6th month of the year. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So in terms of a year with the sun, if June is the 6th month of the year and there's 12 months in a year, that means that, and during the summer solstice in the 6th month, you are in, this is the middle of the year or the middle of the day. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is noon on June 21st. It is the middle of the year, the longest. The sun is at its highest point, and you're at the long. And according to what Rafiq and Sister Rebecca say, the sun it's noontime. What was your definition, Rafiq?
Peak heat and peak sunlight from the sun.
Peak heat and peak sunlight. Is there another day on besides June 21st where you get more sunlight?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So by Rafiq's definition, on some level, June 21st is noon. Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Read the 9th verse, Rafiq.
And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord God, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day.
Well, if we use the proper context in the first verse of the chapter, God showed the prophet a basket of summer fruit. So when we come down here to the 9th verse, we know it's not really talking about 12 o'clock. It has something to do with noon and the summer. It has the noontime and summer has a relationship. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And noontime in the summer occurs on the summer solstice, approximately June 21st. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So he says that in that day, saith the Lord God, I will cause the sun to go down at noon. And he showed Amos a basket of summer fruit. If we put two and two together, it seems to suggest that around the summer solstice of a certain time, the sun is going to go down. Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The sun is going to stop sharing his pearls. The sun is going to stop teaching holiness to dogs. And I will turn your feast into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord God, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And they shall wander sea to sea, and from north even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
What's today's date?
June 14th.
Huh? What's today's date?
June 14th.
That's right between Memorial Day and the summer solstice, huh?
Yes, sir.
Did you notice my phone number has changed? Did you notice that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Did you notice that the telephone number to this meeting has changed? Did you notice that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We ain't got no disbelievers in here. But if we did, some people may be like, okay, what he doing is he trying to make the scriptures fit. He trying to set it up so he can make it point to him. I'm not doing that. It's just my nature. It's just what's going on. Only thing you got to do is go back to the last few weeks of teaching. If I've been planning this, then, I shouldn't be teaching Islam. I should be in the military somewhere planning war against people. If I could plan how to deceive people months and weeks out in advance. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Nobody got my phone number but my children. And Sister Rebecca just got it tonight. Nobody got the number to this meeting. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I've been teaching
Yes,
10 years. I've been teaching 10 years, barely getting $1 a month from, nobody's giving me no support. Nobody's coming to me, paying me any attention. They're going to keep listening and following these thieves and hypocrites and robbers. So, I'm done teaching them. Like the book say, give not that which is holy unto the ungrateful dog, and don't give your pearls of wisdom to people that could care less about that. Your life lessons or your teachings on Islam. Don't teach them no more. That's what Jesus said do. Ain't that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So since you don't want to hear me, I'm not exactly available to talk to you no more. Francine, whoever else. You people are so stuck on yourself that you think you're more important than God and his messenger. These people got some nerve. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So that's this is the day and time that you're in. I'm done. I'm my videos are all down. They hidden links. The conference room number has changed, and so has my telephone number. I am going to do as Allah do in the Quran. I'm going to turn you to that which you have turned yourselves. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let Marvin Muhammad and let Louis Farrakhan warn you about the famine coming. Let them tell you of their prophetic dreams of flooding in America. Let Allah. Let's see if I'm the son of man. Let's see if you get Allah's guidance through them, because you sure ain't gonna hear me no more. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What have I always told you? The relationship between God and his people is the same as the relationship is between a man and a woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're too young and too inexperienced to really know what I'm about to tell you, but I'm about to tell you anyway. If a girl decides to break up with you, or if a girl tells you that she don't want you, she don't want to be with you, you are not. It is unmanly to beg her and bother her after she has told you no. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It don't matter how much you love her or like her. If she don't want you, and she done told you she done basically told you get out of her face, then get out of her face. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The relationship between God and his people, the same it is between a man and a woman. It's the same thing. The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected. And the scripture also said the Son of Man must suffer many things and be brought to naught. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
know what the word naught means?
Nothing?
Nothing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
If you try to talk to a girl and she tells you no, and she don't want to be, or y'all was together and she don't want to be with you, at a certain point, you don't say nothing else to her. You bring yourself to nothing. You bring yourself to a naught. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You stop speaking. You leave her alone. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Let me tell you something about women. Let me tell you something about women. I'm talking to my sons now. Let me tell you something about women. Tell you something. You know, there's a whole lot I can tell you. Maybe I will at a later time. Maybe I'll do this at a later time. That is a deep subject. It's a deep subject within itself. It's a deep subject. It's a deep thing. Let me say this. I remember when I was practicing law in Mississippi. I had my own law office and secretary and everything. And sometimes the Muslim children will come from what we call the nation out in Lorman, Mississippi. They will come into town to Fayette. And a lot of the some of the Muslim children, like especially the little Muslim girls, they will come to my law office. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what I would do, I would have like Sister Karima in particular, or whoever, or Sister Nigella, whoever came, Sister Tahira. I would have them do something around the office. It really didn't amount to about nothing, because they wanted to go to the store and get them some candy or whatever. So I would have them staple something, or do something, just do something in the office. And what I would do, I would write them a check. It may be $25 or whatever it was, and I would give it to them, and they would take. And since I was an attorney in a small town, they knew the supermarket people knew who I was, and they knew about that check. So if you had a check from me, it was money. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So I would just give them a check. I might give them $25 and tell them to go buy whatever they want at the store. And this is just the way I did things. I did it all the time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I love babies and I love children. I just do. I'm very careful not to kiss and squeeze children because that's a little weird. And if they're not my own, I can't really do that. But I am a very affectionate person. You know, but this world is so evil and so wicked. I can't really be myself around other. Well, I can't be the way I am around children because of the wickedness of this world. But I'm a very affectionate person. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I really like giving them money. I would give them a check, and that would be the end of it. So anyway, one day I get a phone call, and it's Marvin Muhammad. He's a little angry. I didn't know why. I said, I'm like, "Walaikum salam, brother." Sir, brother, you giving them little sisters money? I'm like, yeah. I mean, they came to the law office and I gave him a check, told him to go to the store. Then he said, well, you don't need to be giving them no money. They got their own money. What you giving them money for? Me yelling. And without thinking, what I mean is, it's kind of like, I don't know if Leviathan is the right word or manhood or what it was, but it's like what happened. It's like if somebody came up and hit me, almost without thinking, I probably would hit them back or sock them back. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And so I kind of, without thinking, because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, Marvin Muhammad is my leader, my guy, my teacher. I have to show a certain amount of respect to him. But I lost it. You know, because to me, the conversation wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out what is the issue. And he's yelling and screaming about me giving them some money to go to the store. And I'm literally clueless. I'm like, what is the problem here? I don't understand. And then a thought hit me. And did I rear back at him before I knew it happened, it had happened. And I kind of reared back at him. I yelled. I said, man, what you think I'm propositioning Muslim children? You think I'm up here propositioning these sisters? Like that. That's how I said it. Because I was insulted. And then he well, brother, you know, he kind of just diffused it real quick. He said, well, brother, they got their own money. They can spend their own money. And he kind of got off the phone. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, because, you know, for the few moments I was on the phone, I'm literally lost. I'm like, what is this? Okay. I've been doing this forever. I'm like, what is you? Okay, you on a late show. You just found out about it. Big deal. Like, what is the problem? Until the thought, the only thing that could come to my mind is that you think I don't know what you're thinking, but to me that was absolutely insane. To me, the reason why that thought was insane because if somebody did that to my daughter, if a grown man was trying to proposition my daughter and I found out about it, I'd kill him. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So you up here, to me that's insanity. There's no way that I'm trying to proposition BrotherOni's daughter and Brother Curtis' daughter at my law office. That's insanity. These are Muslim men that trust me. And I'm going to do something like that with their daughter? I was outdone. I'm like, man, that's inconceivable to me. Inconceivable. Not because I'm scared, but because that's just inconceivable. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Lo and behold, found out later, he up there basically molesting Sister Karima. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, why am I bringing this up? I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's a lesson. There's wisdom in the lesson I got from the whole experience. Because in many ways, I'm pretty naive. I'm pretty wet behind the ears in certain matters. Because although I was from Detroit and I had an older uncle I hung out with, I never hung out with pimps. And I never really hung out with men that knew how to manipulate the mind of women. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I knew nothing about that. So, also, compared to what I know today about women, then I knew nothing about women. Absolutely nothing. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
To the point that even when I was married and not really understanding women, I basically treated my wife like I would a brother. I kind of talked to her like that. I really didn't. I had no understanding about the way women are, how they think, what they're. I had no idea. So when I got married, she was literally Sister Sandra, my wife, just my sister. I had a very naive, very. You could call me Mr. Magoo. I just didn't know anything. Do you understand? I had no idea. I didn't know anything about. What I mean is, I didn't know the complexities of the female mind and how they tick. I learned that later. Anyway, talking to my sons, because these are things that a lot of things you're either gonna learn these things the hard way, or you're gonna learn by a life lesson from someone like myself, like your dad. Hopefully, you will take the life lesson, because you don't want to learn the hard way. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
All right. So what was going on? Well, what I was doing was a problem, and this was the problem. This is the problem. If Sister Karima can come to my law office and basically do nothing but say, "Assalamu alaikum, Brother Kevin," smile, give me a cute smile, and I give her money, like an uncle, right? That means that she don't have to be beholden. She really don't have to be that beholden to someone else that has money too. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if someone was trying to molest Karima or manipulate her, well, she really didn't have to get too involved in that situation, because I could just go to the law office and get whatever I want. I can go to Brother Kevin. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
In other words, Sister Karima had options. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
What is the point I'm making? The point I'm making is this. All women, even little girls, by nature, are attracted to power. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It is a woman's nature to gravitate and be around men with power. Do you understand? And if a woman has options in that regard, then that means that men or a man that's trying to get her attention or whatever he's trying to do with her, he's going to have a more difficult time with her because she has options. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is the general nature between men and women. I guess I'm going to go ahead and teach you this. And so you may want to take notes, Rafi. Now, what you must understand is the more power a woman has, the harder it is to control her or to get her to do your will. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
By power, that can be in the form of education. That can be in the form of money. But in whatever form that power gets into the dictates of a woman, the more power she has, the more difficult the task of getting her to submit to your will. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, what you must remember is this. This is the irony of it all. Are you listening, Rafi? Are you listening, Dain?
Yes, sir.
Are you listening? Come on.
Yes, sir.
Are you there? Are you listening, Rafi?
Yes, sir.
This is the irony of it all. Even though a woman may get more power, more money, more education, and she's yet harder to control, the irony of it all, even after she gets power, money, education, whatever she gets, the ironic part about that is, even though she has the power, she still, by nature, on a primordial level, she still wants a man to rule her. She still wants that. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Let me repeat what I just said. Women are naturally attracted to men with power. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But when a woman gets power herself, she becomes more difficult, a little more difficult to control and deal with. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But the irony of it all is that she still, even after obtaining that power, she still wants a man that's able to rule over her. She still has the same desire. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If y'all, I don't really know because I'm not there looking at you, or I'm not exactly in your brain. But I envy you because I wish somebody would have been teaching me these things. And I wonder how wise you really are. And by that I mean, I wonder if you're really listening to what I'm trying to tell you. Hopefully you are, and if not, so be it. Now, that's the nature of the situation. What I want to point out to you is this. You are now in a society where women have political power, they have economic power, they have power, they have a lot of education. So a lot of women in this civilization, in this country, they are what you will call independent women or independent-minded women. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I don't care what you hear on TV and what you hear on the radio and what the devil tells you in his multimedia, the lies that he tells. You are in a world that is upside down. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
When you are out and you meet a woman that you're interested in, or you talking to a woman, and you have a conversation with her, and she says things to you like, "Oh yeah, I'm a nurse, and I go to Africa every year." And you ask this woman, "Oh, you go to Africa? You take shit? I go to Africa 2 or 3 times a year." And you ask the woman, "Well, who do you go with?" "Oh, I go by myself. I got friends in Africa." Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's not how it should be. It may sound seductive to the ears of a woman to have her own money and to go and come as she pleases, but that's not the way it should be. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Because when you take a woman outside of her natural role, when you give the woman the power and the sovereignty of a man, she starts to act like one. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Call it the masculine energy. Now, if a woman is acting like a man in that regard, going to work every day, taking trips, and handling business, as they say. If she's taking on the role of a man, which means that she is wielding the energy of a man, the energy levels of a man, and she starts gaining certain refined masculine characteristics, a woman like that is a candidate to becoming a lesbian. A candidate. I didn't say that women that have jobs and that are independent and taking care of themselves, I'm not saying that they're lesbians. That is not what I said. I said a woman in that position is a candidate to be turned to that lifestyle. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is the society that we have. If all the women in society have the same employment opportunities, the same power, the power structure of society is equal between men and women, you are looking at the fall of a civilization. Because if a man is not designed to co-equally share power with a woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
He's not designed that way. That's not the way we are designed. Man is created in the image of God. God is a king. God is a ruler. God is a dictator. And if you create a society where women are no longer they're no longer a helpmeet, they're no longer your servant, they are your partner, you got a problem. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's what you have today. And so what happens is the devil, opportunities for women have expanded, and what takes place is this, especially in the black community. If black women are given economic deference in the black community as far as economic power, that means that the men in the community or in the society will begin naturally to become beta men. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Meaning men that are not really men. They kind of they're not they're beta. I don't know how else to put it. You know, they're soft. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You know, they don't have that. I don't know how to put it. They just don't have it. You know, they start taking on. They become metrosexual. They become effeminate. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So this is what's taking place in this society. An increasing number of men in this society are becoming effeminate or outright gay or metrosexual. Or in other words, beta men. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And then you look at, for example, women are becoming alphas or masculine. Take charge. I'm running a company. I'm Congressman so and so. I'm Senator so and so. Taking on this masculine energy. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And then they start doing women conferences where women get together and they talk about women problems, right?
Yes, sir.
But these women, when they come together, they come around other women that are alphas or other women that have taken on this masculine energy. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
And then the women that are not tomboys, that are like really prissy, soft women, by nature, when they see that other woman, something twisted by nature within a woman, she becomes attracted to this other woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The reason why is because this woman, whether or not they're gay, that's not what we're talking about. Let's say everybody in the room is straight, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the society is being turned upside down. So now when the woman goes to work and she has a female supervisor, when she goes to a conference with other women and she's around other powerful women, whether or not these other women are gay is not the point. The point is these women are taking on masculine or manly roles. And so women, on a certain level, are naturally attracted to these alpha women. Because women by nature are attracted to power. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So they become candidates. Now, if you introduce the fact that many of these alpha women in these positions are lesbian, then your society is ruined. Because a man in certain arenas can't compete with a lesbian. What do I mean? Lesbians can go into the bathroom with your daughter, with your girlfriend. They're like a lesbian is like an insidious enemy, a spy or a destroyer of society. Because a lesbian woman can be out with women and it looks normal. And that lesbian can be in that group saying words here or dropping innuendos there with that masculine male energy that she has and plant the idea, well, maybe I'm gay or maybe I ought to try that lifestyle. It seems different and exciting. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When you have this situation happening with the women of society, your society is doomed. Because in the natural order of things, when a man is competing for the affection of a woman, he is unable to get next to a woman he's trying to get next to in terms of being a friend. Like, going over, being in her bedroom, doing her hair, or being in a shower with her, or being in the bathroom with her. A man can't do that. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But a lesbian could be around other women for weeks, months, and years, learning all the woman's insecurities, all her flaws, and can use those insecurities and flaws against her and manipulate that woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And then that same woman who's having a problem with a man will go to an unknown lesbian to get advice. Next thing you know, the girl that you was in love with or your wife, because she's listening to this lesbian, your marriage or your relationship is over. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
He shouldn't talk to you that way. Who do he think he is? That's the problem with men in this society. Yeah, that's right. I don't know why he talked to me that right.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
She don't say that. She don't say that solely out of concern for you. She says that because she also has an agenda. Because she don't want you to be with your man anyway. She's attracted to you. She wants you to be her wife. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I mean, think about it. Think about it. If Daim got a girlfriend, and Daim and his girlfriend are having problems, and Daim's girlfriend calls Rafiq or calls some friend of Daim for advice, and if Daim's friend is kind of attracted to this girl, he may say, well, I don't really know why Daim said that. He's a good guy, but he really should. A woman should be treated like this. If it were me, I would have never done. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So it's easier to protect your woman and to keep your relationship, because if Daim find out, hey man, stay away from our thing. You girl, quit talking to him, right?
Yes, sir.
But how in the world can Daim tell his girlfriend or Rafiq tell his wife, don't talk to her best friend, whom he don't know is a lesbian? Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In other words, America has died. Because this lifestyle and these people and their ideas and their insidiousness has become an accepted way of life. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now this is the course of things. You got very, very beautiful women out here in this society. Gorgeous. But they not only date now, they're married. They got rainbow rings on. They're married to, they talk about their wife, a beautiful woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So if the women are marrying other women, you got a problem. If you straight, you're gonna go through depression. You're gonna experience depression. When women, if the woman is turned and a man cannot, if a man cannot gaining a wife. One moment. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that a woman is a man's heaven. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say a house. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say a sports car. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say a yacht. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say a cruise on a boat. It's heaven for a man. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't say money is heaven for a man. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said a woman is a man's heaven. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, if you are in a society where it has become accepted and normalized that women should be with other women, you are in a situation where Satan has literally rebirthed another hell on earth. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It is hell to be out and see a beautiful sister or woman that you are genuinely interested in, only to find out, not that she's with another man, but she's with another woman who happens to be good looking too. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's hell for a man. It's a waste. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the society this is the generation that you are coming into. This is the end of this. This cannot go on. These days are about to be shortened. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If a man cannot have a wife and can't have a woman, or if you're in a general situation like you have this society in, the man is either going to enter into depression, become a beta man himself, or he may decide he may even turn to homosexuality himself. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This devil, there's a saying. They say that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that you cannot fathom the depths of Satan. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you this last example, then I'm going to dismiss. There's a movie out right now called The Men in Black International. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. They got a sister playing the agent. Her name is, I think her real name is Tessa Thompson, and she's the partner of this white actor. I forget his name. And they're in this new movie called The Men in Black. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, the issue on a real deep level, the satanic issue with this movie is this. Tessa Thompson, who is a black woman, is a very beautiful and attractive woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
And as far as white men go, I mean, we got eyes. I forget the actor name, but he's a fairly handsome devil. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But that woman that's playing his subtle love interest in that movie, she's a lesbian, and he's a homosexual. Do you understand?
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
So when you go see this movie, and you see this beautiful, sexy, attractive black woman, because she is a lesbian, she's giving off a um a alien signal to you. You attracted to her, but something strange about it. Or if you're a woman and you see this handsome devil, this handsome man, you're attracted to him, but something's very odd and strange. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And the oddness and strangeness of it all, and you're sitting there for 2 hours, is this. Even though you are looking at the woman, because the man is giving off the energy of attraction to another man, part of your psyche is attracted to the man. And if you're a woman looking at the man, because she's a lesbian, the energy of attraction is going to her. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the women sitting in front of this movie, although they see a man, they're actually being attracted to the lesbian. And the men that's going to the movie to see her, they're actually being attracted to him. Because of the energy that they're giving off. Do you
Yes,
understand?
Yes, sir.
Because something in the back of your mind even though you may not know who this woman is, something in the back of your mind that, man, I couldn't get the first base with her. But in the back of your mind, you're looking at this white man without thinking about it, but in the back of your mind, a part of you knows, like, man, you know what? I got a chance with him. He might be a little sweet. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, sir.
It is a twisted, satanic world that you are in. They are doing everything on every level to damn you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. Let me tell you something. I said it once, I'll say it again. I got lectures and lectures and lectures in my brain. Lectures. I'm cutting it off right now. I'm cutting it off. But I could teach you till the sun come up and still would have not gotten started. You understand?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
But what I want you to remember is that women are attracted to power. I don't care what comes out of a woman's mouth. You're going to learn one day when you become seasoned men. You're going to learn the art of knowing when not to pay any attention to what a woman says, but you're going to pay more attention to what she actually do. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
You're going to learn that one day. I don't really think that can be taught. That's just something that has to be experienced, and that's just something you just have to grow into. But women, are, in closing, women are. That's the nature of the situation. That's the nature of the situation. And there's a lot more to be said about this. There's a lot more. There's a lot more to this. There's a lot. And I said it once, I'll say it again. If you truly don't understand the nature of the woman, like the road to divine power goes through the woman. If you don't understand women, if you don't understand how to rule women, if you don't understand them, you will not rule. It will never happen. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
The devil, he understands women. That's why you're given a hint of it in the book of Genesis. The devil didn't come talk to Adam. The devil brought Adam down because he understood the woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. The Bible, in other words, the Bible tells you that Satan understands women. He understands the psychology of women.
Yes, sir.
He understands. Satan understands women like the back of his hand. And the reason why Satan understands women like the back of his hand, because he understands the game of chess. The woman is the most powerful piece on the board is the woman. If you can get to another man's woman, by another man I mean another nation. If you can corrupt or influence or manipulate another man or another people's woman, you have already won the war. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
A people or a nation that does not have control of its women, or whose women are out of control, is a nation or a people who are slaves. Show me a nation where the men don't protect their women, and I'll show you a nation that's subjugated. Show me a nation whose women can roam the streets at night and go and come as they please, and I will show you a nation who is subjugated. Your number one mission is to protect your woman. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And always remember this. The woman's weakness, her greatest weakness is her ears. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you do not have control of your woman, if you do not have say of who talks to your woman, if you don't have no control over that, women are democratic. They're not men. A man can stand up against other men and say, I don't care what none of y'all think. X, Y, Z. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Women are not like that. Women are social, democratic, clannish people. Their reputation is everything to them. It matters. Everything depends on what other people think about a woman. She cares very much about what other people think of her. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And if you let somebody get next to your woman and start putting certain ideas in her mind or what they think is right or what they think of her for doing what she needs to do and all that stuff, and start putting all that stuff in her mind, you're going to have a problem. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A woman does not only bear your children. A woman also bears your ideas. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
She's like a field that you plant stuff in and it grows. We might plant sperm in her and she'll give you a child. Or you can plant ideas in her. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And that's the problem you're going to have. If you're not in control of your home, if you're not in control of your society, you're going to have problems if you don't understand this. You got to wake up. A woman is not your partner. She's your helpmeet. She belongs to you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All these teaching, all these things that this devil has put in our minds has enabled the devil to keep our communities destroyed and keep him ruling over us. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me tell you something. I'm in Oklahoma. Let me tell you how ridiculous it is up here. I go in Walmart, I see black women with white men, and I turn the other aisle and see black men with white women. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Insanity. Utter insanity. So, let this be a lesson to you. If you get into, let me just tell you now, so I can save you some heartbreak. If you get yourself a girlfriend, a fiance, a wife, and if she does not obey you, meaning if you say, I don't want you talking to so and so, I don't want you going here, I don't want you going there. If you don't have that kind of respect or juice with this girl that you fallen in love with, you need to go on about your business because you're wasting your time. Because you're going to have problems. She is going to break your heart. It is going to happen. You either rule or you will be ruled. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It is just that simple. Jesus said in the scriptures, he said, you are my friend if you do whatsoever I tell you to do. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Jesus said, you are indeed my friend if you do everything that I say do. Then I'll call you my friend. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do not let yourself fall in love with a woman that don't obey you. Don't do it. You set yourself up for heartbreak. Set yourself up for disappointment. And unfortunately, in the present society that we are in, it is certainly the truth in the Bible. A prudent wife is a gift from the Lord. That's the truth. That's the truth. You know. So remember these things. Remember these things. Remember these things. There's a lot more to be. There is a lot more to be said about this subject. A lot more. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
But I don't want to keep you here all night. You know. So as it stands now, I am going to teach those that are here, my children and sister that's here. That's who I'm concerned about right now. And I'm as of today, or as of Sunday or last week, I'm no longer concerned about people that don't care about Master Muhammad and want to obey and follow these other people. I'm gonna let them go for it. We gonna see who the real Son of Man is. Whether it's me or somebody else, we gonna find out. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right, Rafiq.
Do we have any questions or comments before we close our Bible study?
Yes, sir. I would like to thank the Son of Man for giving us wisdom today, and that I enjoyed the readings today. Thank you.
I enjoyed everyone's readings and the Son of Man's lecture that he gave us this Friday night. And thank you.
And I also enjoyed everyone's reading and Son of Man's lecture tonight. And I just want to say that I thank you, Son of Man, for, coming to us, to coming for me, because I didn't know what to expect when I couldn't hear from you. So I'm very grateful to Master Farad Muhammad for you to speak to me. Also, I thought that was a very, very wise advice you were giving to your sons about the relationship with men and women, and the situation with lesbian women and how they control and manipulate women and their ideas, and how they destroy a man's ideas. I thought that was very good advice on that.
I appreciate everyone's readings today and the Son of Man's lecture.
Thank you for this lecture, Son of Man. We ain't getting our heart broken anytime soon. And with that said, we will close this Bible study with the Muhammad children giving their Farad prayers and their meditations to Master Farad Muhammad, starting with Amaria.
Surely I have turned myself, being upright to him, who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheist. Surely my prayers, my sacrifices, and my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the world. No associate has he, and this is my commandment, and I am with those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. Or guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals but thee. The Lord is my shepherd, I want not. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Surely I have turned myself, being upright to him, who originated in the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheist. Surely my prayers, my sacrifices, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and this is my commandment, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults with thee. And guide me to the best of morals. For none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me to evil morals but thee. The Lord is my shepherd, I want not. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Surely I have turned myself, being upright to him, who originated the heavens and the earth, and I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life, and my death are all for Allah, Lord of the worlds. No associate hath he, and this is my commandment, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all my faults, for none grants protection against faults with thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee, and turns away from me the evil morals but thee. The Lord is my shepherd, I want not. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
In the name of Allah, who appeared and is in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Well,